A lot of famous recipes are claimed to be made with love. But what's a dish that's probably made with hatred? I just finished working with a chef whilst his sous chef was away. I'm not trained in cooking at all, and they paid me minimum wage. But he still expected finesse, and was abusive to all the staff, most of them minors. I was told off for making only 1 carrot salad starter, when we needed 2. We didn't. I made that fiddly little salad with so much hatred. When the food was sent, it became obvious there was only 1 on order, so I asked several times, "Oh, is that one for later then?" And he just refused to answer. My mom makes killer mashed potatoes. 0 lumps. Does it by hand. I think that's why she was never physically abusive toward us. Mum, why are we eating mashed potato for breakfast? You know what you did. Frozen anything that was supposed to be taken out of the freezer to thaw before you got home but wasn't. Thank you for this comment for reminding me to take the chicken out of the freezer for dinner. Jibachi senbei wasp crackers. Some Japanese people hated wasps so badly, they turned them into crackers. NGL, I expected the wasps to be milled into crackers, not crackers that look like cookies with wasps instead of raisins. Link. He also mentions the unsettling sensation of wings and legs getting stuck in his mouth. Nope. Tacos con chili, as made by a scorned Mexican woman. I don't know who hurt Shia Lily, but she hurt us all as vengeance. You know that chili gonna kick when a bulo is screaming into the pot, "Chia su madre." Working in a Mexican restaurant, I asked the cooks to teach me a little Spanish so I could make their lives easier. That was the first phrase they taught me. Not quite what I had in mind. Never, ever trust someone to teach you a single sentence from another language. We will teach some bullshit, like I like cocks in my ears, or your mother came from a chimpanzee anus, or how much for sucking my elbows. Right. They did teach me a few other bits that I've now long forgotten, but that first one stuck with me. The brother of a friend of mine majored in something having to do with Italian culture, I don't remember what, so he became fluent in the language. Their parents decided to take a trip to Italy and asked the brother to teach them useful phrases, like "Where is the restroom? Please." Brother did so, except instead of teaching them to ask politely for the restroom, he substituted the phrase "There's a body behind the fountain." His parents ran all over Italy, having a great time. But they couldn't understand why they got strange looks everywhere when they asked about restrooms. Zernina is a Polish soup made out of blood that is traditionally served by a girl's parents to her fiance when they didn't like him. So this soup is literally made with hatred in mind. Homemade Samoa Girl Scout cookies. You take caramel and toasted coconut, then try to spread it on a dry crumbly sugar cookie. The coconut caramel mixture sticks to everything except the ducking cookies, which split way too easily. After several hours and a lot of yelling, I finally had about 10 usable intact cookies. Never again. Those weird, translucent loaf meals with the assorted vegetables, sliced eggs, etc., suspended in a gelatin mold. Aspic. My year 8 cooking teacher, who was presumably rented from the Institute of British Stereotypes or something, suggested adding both baked beans and Marmite to the same lasagna to make it healthier. So, probably that. Oh. And to think I was upset about our school's lasagna containing peas. You have a right to be. Anything 2 minutes before closing byline cook. As a guy who worked as a cook, and literally, just as the lady was about to lock the doors, we still had literally a few minutes and orders a 20-piece of chicken. We call them tailgates. They didn't want the chicken that was still up. They wanted it all fresh. We had to turn the fryers back on, make a fresh batch of chicken batter, and then wait for the fryer to heat back up. Then cook the chicken. And by the time the chicken was ready to come up, the customers start yelling and storm out. I hated that night. Edit golly. 8,000 updates. You all are too kind, as well as thank you for the award. Kind stranger. I'm surprised you guys didn't tell them you were already closing, so they could have the already finished chicken or nothing. Those types of customers can never be satisfied, so I won't even bother trying. You guys are way nicer than I would be. The manager is the culprit responsible for that. Me. and everyone else who had unpleasant privilege to be there had to do it because the manager said so. Believe me, the crew were all on board on telling them to duck off. It's always the spineless manager. Fried dough fritters. The twin sticks of fried dough you pull apart before eating. Usually with porridge. Mostly in East Asian cuisine. They were first created to send a tyrant and his concubine to heck. Backstory. There was this tyrant and his concubine rumored to be a nine-tailed vixen who were completely mad and cruel. They invented new torture techniques to try on opposing court members and have been known to brutalize civilians for fun. No one could retaliate, so they defaulted to an old superstition. That was, apparently by using magic and all, souls could be caught and stuffed into a bottle. If the soul belonged to an evil person and was causing havoc by haunting and tormenting people, the soul would be punished. How? Deep frying. The bottles would be tossed into vats of hot oil. By frying the souls, they experience all the pain of actually being deep fried. This would cause resentment and anger. The resentment would grow so deep that their souls would fall into heck the 18th level and can never be reincarnated because they would be unable to let go of the pain and anger. The peasants, not knowing magic, made simple stand-ins of dough and heartfelt wishes of eternal damnation, then fried it. If one person tries and fails, that's okay, because thousands of people would do this every morning. Sooner or later, someone has to succeed and send the couple a speedy one-way ticket to heck. Nowadays, fried dough fritters are just nice with hot, thick, congee rice sprinkled with chopped onion greens and slivers of shredded boiled pork. The chocolate cake Bruce has to eat in Matilda, made with hate, consumed with spite. Damn disgusting scene it was. My mom's snail stew. My mom rents a plot of land for growing organic veggies as a hobby. Now, every damn year an army of snails invades her crops. She got so fed up one time that she spent hours collecting them all and then cooking them in a spicy stew. Bear in mind, I'm from northeastern Spain. We eat snails, so it's not weird at all. Anyway, it was the best snail stew we ever had, and it was 1000% made with pure, unadulterated hate towards the main ingredient. Anyway, she makes it several times every summer now. It's always fantastic. You're lucky. We mostly get naked snails who are not edible and just annoying. You mean slugs? If that's what those nasty bastards without a snail house are called, then yes. Snail house. LOL. Worked in a Chinese restaurant for 3 years. They had Hainanese chicken rice poached chicken on the menu. We'd prep the chicken in the morning and fridge it. When the orders came in, we would pour chicken stock from a perpetual stock vat into the dish and let it soak, then rain. Repeat a few more times until the chicken was piping hot. The draining was done by hand, so you had to press your palm against the chicken and flip it almost vertically so the stock drains back into the vat. First round draining was okay because the chicken was cold, so the stock came out slightly above warm. Second round and third round was just fire. Reason we did it by hand was because the chicken was already cut into presentable form, and using a sieve or spider would result in breaking, imprinting the skin, or disturbing the presentation. I never managed to desensitize my hands in those 3 years, so it was just painful throughout. Surely some form of glove exists for this. Working in the kitchen, especially most fast food kitchens, they supply you with an occasional spatula and rubber gloves, and you learn quickly that using your hands goes faster, often melts the gloves if it's hot cheese or something. And then there's the sweat. Oh god, the palm sweat. It gets everywhere and makes the gloves even more slippery than they already were. Once ate a pudding made of vegetables in my school cafeteria. That thing looked like green goo put together with some cooked eggs and slime. I swear I tried to eat that thing and end up gagging every time I took a bite. I can't even remember its flavor, but it was bad. So that vegetable pudding was definitely made with hate, or maybe school cafeteria's food in general. School cafeteria food is made with resigned indifference and engineered to be as cost effective as possible. The result is a soulless abomination that can somehow be too salty and bland at the same time. It's the Vaughan poetry of food. Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. They are composed of concentrated froth. My husband got a bag of these for me as a gift. It was an accident. They look exactly like the regular ones. I can confirm. Yes, an accident. Extreme hot sauces. They are not made for flavor or enjoyment. They are designed to destroy the mouth, stomach and asshole of whoever eats it. True story, I mix the crazy hot sauces with special paint and apply it to the bottom of my boat. It is enough of an irritant that it keeps barnacles and other marine life from growing on the hull. This is an old trick. I've heard of Cajuns in the bayou using cayenne powder. I've even heard of them using Trinidad Scorpion 2 hottest pepper for this purpose on commercial ships. It's legit. The pie in the book The Help. In Titus Andronicus, the play by Shakespeare, there is a famous pie. From Wiki. When Timora is gone, Titus has them restrained, cuts their throats and drains their blood into a basin held by Lavinia. Titus morbidly tells Lavinia that he plans to play the cook, grind the bones of Demetrius and Chiron into powder, and bake their heads. When the emperor calls for Chiron and Demetrius, Titus reveals that they have been baked in the pie Timora has just been eating. For context, Demetrius and Chiron raped Titus' daughter, Lavinia. Then they cut off her hands and cut out her tongue so she couldn't tell anyone who did this to her. He served the above mentioned meat pie to their mother, Timora. Shakespeare had a goth phase. I was lucky enough to see this play at the Sydney Opera House. My wife was all excited that we had tickets to see Shakespeare, but she had no idea what Titus Andronicus was about. When we walked out of the theater, she turned to me and, with a completely straight face, said, "It was okay, but I think I prefer Midsummer's Night." Shakespeare is the original sex, drugs, and fast mandolin. Everyone knows the popular ones: Romeo and Juliet, Midsummer's, Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Macbeth. Those are the tame ones. His plays are filled to the brim with murder and poorly advised sex. The amount of times where people who shouldn't do and this results in everyone dying, that shows up as nothing short of Shakespearean. If you go to see Shakespeare and you don't recognize the name of the play, strap in for a really good time. I went to see Cymbeline. I had no idea about it beforehand, but I was nearly laughing out loud at the final scenes. It's not meant to be a comedy, but it seemed like he was writing it. And then someone said, "Come on, Bill. This is due tomorrow morning, duck. Let's tie this shit up." Someone did a whole confession explaining a point, and a minute later someone raises a question and the person goes, "Oh yeah." Another thing I should say, if that was mean as humorous, no one was laughing audibly. There may have been people trying not to laugh. Potato chips were supposedly invented out of spite. Supposedly the story goes some rich guy kept complaining that the cook, a guy named George Crumb, kept messing up the potatoes he was serving. So George sliced the potatoes really thin, fried them to a crisp, and salted them. The customer loved them, and other customers started ordering potatoes that way. Thanks for the awards. He couldn't murder the customer, but he sure as duck could kill that potato. I'm sure he slowly but surely contributed to the deaths of countless other sons. NGL death by crisp is my dream death. This alleged Midwestern popcorn salad bullshit. Link. Eater. I'm also from the Midwest and I never heard of this abomination before this video. I'm from the Midwest. I've never seen that before, but I could tell you exactly how to make it based on just the picture. In case you have any interest in the weird potluck vocab we have in the Midwest regarding salads, I'll attempt to decode how we have mayo-based salads and marshmallow salads. LOL. Why call them salads? We often call them casseroles when savory, but they have salad in the name. If it's uncooked, for example, we categorize tuna noodle salad as a casserole, but the specific dish is a salad. A casserole that is savory and also cooked is called a hot dish. Basically, any unbaked savory casserole can be defined as a salad. For example, tuna salad, potato salad, egg salad, broccoli bacon salad. Hot dishes are like tater tot hot dish and hamburger noodle hot dish. The sweet things that we call salads are usually just jello and marshmallows. We usually just refer to that as jello, but the recipe itself is usually titled as some sort of salad. When a marshmallow jello has a particularly high ratio of fruit in it, then we will call it just some sort of fruit salad. Hope my little rant here is something my fellow Midwesterners can agree with. My inferred recipe for that popcorn salad: Miracle Whip, frozen peas, little celery bits, and white onions. Stir together. Then let sit in fridge for a couple hours to settle. Edit and popcorn of course. There might be tuna in there too. And probably butter. I don't know, it's probs a prank. But on God, that's how Minnesota church would make it. Edit some formatting. Also a note on hot dish. I've recently found that hot dish is really just a Minnesota thing. And I guess it is a little more specific than a baked casserole. Hot dish, I think, can be applied when a Minnesotan reclaims a casserole recipe. For example, a baked tuna noodle casserole, there's a hot and cold version, will always be a casserole. But if a church lady decided to put in bell peppers and potato chip crumbles on top, they very well might just call it a hot dish. There's probably another big post that could be written specifically about the differences between hot dish and casseroles. But basically all hot dishes are casseroles, but not all casseroles are hot dishes. There's this shop in Chinatown in Singapore that one of my so-called friends took me to. He took me and another guy there. After one bite of the noodle the guy ordered for us, our eyes drowned into tears. Our tongues disintegrated. Our sweat glands just let it torrent out all over. It was the most agonizing experience we had ever had in our life. The guy who took us there and the shop owner were just there laughing at us. I swear that bowl of whatever it was made with pure malice. Anything served in prison. How is Nashville hot chicken not the top answer here? The story goes something like a wife found out her husband was cheating and wanted to punish him. Dumped all her cayenne into a fried chicken dish. Unfortunately for her, he loved it, but literally made with hatred. Nashville hot chicken was originally created with hatred, or how the story goes. Link. When I was 8, I used to eat cucumbers daily, and my sister knew this, and she despised me for stealing her parents away from her. Lady, we are siblings, the heck are you talking about? So she cut out the middle of the entire cucumber, filled it with chili powder, told my mom I'll give him his cucumbers today, and force fed me the cucumber. 10 worst experience.